Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Bokar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. Salaki. And Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And Shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say Shalom to you Akim out there. In the 10 o'clock in the morning, in the a.m. on this Wednesday, it's Wednesday morning, August the 17th, 2022. And this is a news article about wars and rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, an update as it's increasing in the latter days. And this is a news article from RT.com, published on August the 17th, 2022. World news, alternative news around the world. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads in the news for today on this August 17th, 2022. And it reads, Beijing confirms joint military drills with Moscow. Because you're starting to see more often, these allies are starting to click more with each other now, especially with China and Iran. China, Iran, Russia as well too, and North Korea, because they're going to be all allies in these latter days, It says the multilateral Volks Top 2022 exercise will start in 2 weeks in eastern Russia. It says Chinese troops will be among the foreign participating in a multilateral military exercise in Russia called Volkstal 2022. China's defense ministry confirmed on Wednesday the People Liberation Army will send personnel to Russia, expecting the event to be deepened pragmatic and friendly cooperation with the military of the participating countries, enhancing the level of strategic coordination among the parties, and enhance the ability to deal with various security threats. Potentially United States and its allies as well too. Potentially. But continuing on with reading, a statement said Beijing noted that the current region and international tensions do not affect its decision. It says the Volks Talk 2022 take place at 13 locations in eastern Russia between August the 30th and September the 5th. The Russian Defense Ministry announced in late July said foreign militaries were invited but did not specify nationalities. The Chinese statement mentioned Belarus, India, Mongolia, Tajikistan amongst the guests. It says Moscow conducted a strategic exercise this year, kind once a year, with one of Russia's 5 military districts picked to host it. In 2021, the Zappa maneuvers were held in the west of the country, together with Russia and allied Belarus, while in 2020, the Kazakh exercise took place in the south, with the nations like Armenia, Iran, and Pakistan participating. The last event in the Eastern Military District took place in September 2018, and Chinese and Mongolian troops were involved in the region maneuvers at that time. So, seeing these military exercises are definitely ramping up at a quick pace. These are signs of these are the signs of preparation for war. Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Huh? Always so. Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot. Right. forgive for that long momentary pause, because OG was doing something. So yeah, back to what I was saying, hey, these military drills been ramping up, and been increasing a lot lately. And that shows you more indications or signs of preparation for the WW3, which is recorded in the book of Revelations 11 and 14 of the Holy Scriptures. Second woe was past, behold, the third woe coming quickly. As reading through the news article, and they said it doesn't, these military drill 10-10-10 call all y'all Basham El Shah. But, back to what I was saying, they were saying, as I was reading through the news article, in the next 2 weeks that's coming up, from August the 30th all the way to in between of September, you're going to see the military exercise drill with Moscow and China, and then there's going to be potential other participants as well too, which is to be determined. But these exercise drills, these Navy military drills, simulation type drills, and all these drills, ground troop drills, simulation attack drills on other nations. It's a one nation doing a simulation attack on another, potentially, and I was reading further down through the article, they said this is like for, a preparation for a potential security threat. They're going to have like good stability, good communication, and other categories they was mentioning as well too. But the biggest one that it was saying, that security stability between the nations, because they allies, because China and Russia and Moscow, they got, they good allies, because in these latter days, they're gonna have these allies clicking up with each other to go against other nations, China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. They all gonna team up to go against the United States and its allies, because the biggest allies of the United States is Israel, because Iran can't stand Israel, and Israel can't stand Iran. You know how that goes. And then you got the tensions with Beijing, Washington, China, the United States. Then you got the Russia-Ukraine thing. NATO teaming up with Ukraine. So all these things are stirring up and building up in preparation for World War III. As they get down in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the Valley of Decision, Yahweh's decision, in the Middle East. And we're getting very, very close to that. It's not going to happen right away, because everything is run by the Heavenly Father, He say what goes, but He's getting everything set up, with these, He's stirring these nations up in that warlike mindset. That's why we've been seeing a lot of military trainings throughout last year. Now you're seeing the increase of this year now more than ever, This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6. In verse 6 in the book of Matthew, to the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Right. Because we know these things are definitely coming to pass, and we starting to see in the process, in the stages of these things are about to come to pass very soon. As you're seeing these military build-ups between the nations, hostility, uh, between the nations, proxy wars, non-stop wars between the nations, you know, commotions of wars at a high rate, all-time high. A lot of tension stirring up in the Middle East, parts of Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, the cross-border of the Golan Heights, border of Syria and Israel. And then you got the China and you got the South China Sea, tension stirring up. So you're seeing a lot of things that's stirring up, and when it comes to military of these nations and war type tactics related to these nations are definitely stirring up. It is heating up now more than ever, especially on a daily basis. I mean, you see nonstop wars and commotions, and rumors of wars are definitely heating up on an everyday basis. Normally it used to be like a couple of weeks, hey, we normally see it on an everyday basis. Now it's increasing now more than ever, This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7. For nations shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdoms, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, right? Because we see in these increase, nations are rising up against other nations increasingly now more than ever, as I mentioned in my previous videos, as I'm mentioning right now again, because you're going to see more and more of these things to increase and intensify in the latter days that we're currently living in, because we're seeing these things right before our eyes, because these are biblical prophecy times that we are living in, because these are prophecies that are definitely going to come to pass, and the Holy Scriptures are 100% true, and we've seen these things taking place on the planet Earth, the uprises of the nations, uproars of the people, sedition among men, spirit created for vengeance, the love of many shall wax cold. We've seen all these things are about to come to pass, And then the big two main prophecies are going to come is that WW3, which is mentioned before, recorded in the book of Revelations 11 and 14. The second war was past, behold, the third war coming quickly. Because we are definitely in those stages of World War III. The third world's war. We are definitely in the stages of that, And it's going to continue to gain more momentum, in the latter days, And that MOTB, that digital currency is going to, because the WW3 is going to follow right along with the MOTB. It's going to be both close together, because these are prophecies are definitely heating up, in the latter days. You're seeing the droughts and the weather, cut shortages of water because the dry weather, because we are seeing signs, As a matter of fact, I'm bring that Luke 21 and 25, because we are definitely seeing the disgress of nations, And then we're seeing signs. This is the book of Luke. I'm not trying to get off topic, but this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the suns and the moon, just like we see the blood moons, skies getting red and stuff like that. Chariot sightings, all types of different things we see in signs that's taking place on the planet Earth. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations. And that's what we're seeing, the distress of nations, because you're seeing these nations in the uproar with their leaders that's in charge, and they opposing the rules that's being established. You're seeing the uproars of the people in the world, the sedition among the spirit, the love of many and waxing cold. We're seeing increase of great tribulations, increase of the stress of nations clashing it out against one another. If it's from an economic standpoint, a protest standpoint, a warlike standpoint, against the people that's in power, of their leaders of those respectable countries. countries, cities, towns, you name it, districts, you name it, because all these signs of the times, But back to the topic at hand. So yeah, you're definitely gonna see of increase of commotions of wars, because we're seeing that right now increase as well too. And this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9, precept of Matthew's 24 and 7. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Right, like I mentioned before, in the book of Matthew's 24 and 7, And the water Yahweh Shem Al Shai for giving us this understanding of the Holy Scriptures and continue to grow and learn these things in the Holy Scriptures, and the water Yahweh Shem Al Shai for waking us up to know these things in the latter days, because these things are definitely taking place on the planet Earth, As we continue to learn these things, continue to do the readings and do the videos, do sit-down lessons, and being a watchman of the house of Israel, be that watchman on that tower, to warn the people of what's going on around the world. Prophecies are definitely stirring up between the nations and between the different kingdoms. These wars are stirring up. War drums are beating between the nations, As I mentioned before, with the Russia-Ukraine thing heating up, now it's potentially gonna have more nations involved with the war. Then you got the South China Sea, Taiwan Island. Then you got China might potentially invade Taiwan. A lot of experts say it might not happen or it might happen. But hey, it definitely will, for certain will happen though. Because these tensions of these nations have been definitely increasing. Then you've been having an on and off ceasefire between Palestinians and Israel. Islamic jihadists versus Israel, and then Hezbollah versus Israel. So you've been seeing a lot of tensions, even though these nations been into it with each other for a very long time now. But it's like an ongoing commotions of wars, ongoing proxy wars, and been definitely heating up, And it's gonna heat up once back more, even though they might have these peace treaties, trusts, or ceasefire. But those peace treaties and ceasefires gonna break, and they're gonna get back into war once again, because these things are increasing, because it says in the Holy Scriptures, in the times where it's gonna be an increase of these nations rising up against other nations. Gonna be seeing a lot of military activity, a lot of military transactions, a lot of military commotions and animosity towards other nations added of one another. All these things are definitely increasing because these are biblical prophecies of the times that we are living in. Because these military exercise drills are definitely been ramping up. Every time I look into the news, I see articles of joint military exercise drills. A nation might fire rockets, firing ICBM missiles, like North Korea just did. 2 missiles. I did a video early this morning, so all these things are definitely ramping up. Where it's in the preparations of Revelations 11-14, and it's definitely heating up, Even though tensions might calm down, and then tensions are going to stir back up once again, The activity of war is in the air, it's heating up, Because this is the year of Yahweh Shem Al Shai is turning up the heat. As our beloved elder, Apostle Tahar, he mentioned it, in the year 2022. Yahweh Shem Al Shai is turning up. He's definitely turning up on things, And all these are prophecies. These prophecies are rapidly increasing, and it's going to increase now more than ever, in a lot of days. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. In regards to an update, once again, of these wars and rumors of wars, and nation rising against nations, these heavy military exercise drills are starting to continue to increase now more than ever on an everyday basis. So once again, I hope this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua Ba'ashem, Workar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Glory Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and above.